On this week's episode of the Maverick Makers podcast, we talk about what it's like to have that aha moment later in life once you've started your career or your business, and when all of a sudden there is a new calling tapping your shoulder. On this episode, I welcome Maria Arangio, who is the CEO and creative director at Creativo Advertising, as well as the host and food creator behind she'sitalian.com, which is an amazing platform for all things food, inspiration, recipes. It's just incredible. You're going to love it. La Dolce Vita. If you're ready for an episode which is going to fill your bucket and be full of creative inspiration, here it is. Let's go. Here we are on another episode of the Maverick Makers podcast. I'm thrilled to welcome Maria Arangio. She is the creative director and CEO of Creativo Advertising Inc., as well as the face and brain and creator and foodie behind She's Italian, which is an amazing new platform. And we'll talk more about that. I am lucky enough to call her my colleague, but as well as my friend. So welcome, Maria, to the show.
Thanks. I'm so excited to do my first podcast.
Yay! I always love when it's the first. So welcome. You're going to do great. And here we are. So thanks for doing this. So let's get right into it. So the first question that I always love asking guests are, what does the word maverick mean to you, since that's the name of the show?
I felt like you were going to ask me this, but I think ultimately what maverick means to me is just showing up fully. Even when an idea hasn't fully been formed, it's about embracing that unknown with confidence and moving forward anyway. It's like ideas are powerful, but without action, they just stay stuck in your head. So the real magic happens when you're brave enough to start before everything feels perfect.
I like it. It's a great definition. And let's talk about your own maverick journey, where you started and where you are today.
Oh God, do we have time for this? So
Need the Reader's Digest version, but yeah, no, we have time.
digest version, I started Creativo like 17 years ago, originally as a way to like support my family. I was figuring things out, just like a lot of creatives do. And I knew I had this creative talent, but I didn't necessarily know anything about business. So, what I didn't realize back then when I started this was how much this would shape me, not just professionally, but also personally. And over time, it helped me build this confidence in myself, not just in my work. So it taught me how to like trust my instincts and make clear decisions and define my own rules and systems and creative style. And I wasn't just growing a business, I was ultimately growing into myself. And as media like evolved around us so quickly, I also realized that I needed to embrace change and continue and learn to evolve with it, and pretty quickly. Working with my clients feels very different today than it did when I first started. I'm more intentional about who I choose to work with and what kind of work lights me up. I get excited when a client is open to being bold and honest with their brand. I won't compromise on authenticity or creative integrity. I learned that branding today is less about being polished and more about connection.
Hmm.
Because if your brand doesn't reflect like who you really are and what you stand for, like people can feel that.
Hmm.
Digital world is very noisy, but clarity and truth still cut through. And that's what I try to focus on today.
I love it. And let's talk about, how did She's Italian start?
Oh gosh. Like, food has always played a huge role in my life and in my upbringing, and it's really how my family stayed connected and made memories. Um, everything happened around the dinner table or at like a family picnic or chin picnic or something like that. And the kitchen naturally became like another creative space for me outside of my design work. And so ultimately it's where I feel very like relaxed and inspired and most like myself. Um it's not stressful for me, to be in the kitchen and to cook and to create. So, feeding family, whether it's like friends or family or a growing audience, it's always kind of filled my bucket to like bring people around the table, cook for them, and just kind of like create those little memories. So when I secured She's Italian, I thought it might be a fun little passion project. For, like, somewhere down the road, like, maybe closer to retirement. But more recently then a local media company had reached out because I guess they found my Instagram profile and asked me to be the host of their What's for Dinner space on their platform. And I wasn't sure at first because my plate was already really full, but my intuition said, I should do this. And so that gut feeling pushed me to start building that brand and not just for myself, but to kind of build and share something meaningful with others. So it started to become a platform that blends like food, family, storytelling, culture in a way that I never expected it to, but it's been really exciting.
Hmm. Wow. And you light up the minute you talk about it.
Yeah, it's been a journey because like, I this is one of those things where the whole idea wasn't really hashed out. It's just kind of go with the flow and see what happens.
It was the universe pushing you to do it. And I know you're a strong believer in the universe and signs and all that stuff. So
Definitely, yeah.
it's the calling and you answered the phone. So that's awesome. So you've always had such strong creative vision. What was your earliest memory, if we, go back, way back, way back, of
Yeah.
realizing that you were a visual storyteller?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, creativity has been like part of my life from the very beginning. I would say probably when I was about 8 or 9, I'd spend hours drawing, painting, sketching.
Wow.
My mom always let me embrace my creativity. She'd let me paint on walls and, in my bedroom and create little like niches in the house and things like that. And I think I realized that creativity is what helped me express myself without needing a lot of words. I was always very shy and less confident when I was younger. So this really helped me break out of my shell. um, I think I realized I was more of a visual learner as well when I hit college and I was going to school to get my design degree. And I didn't realize that it at the time, but I was already trying to shape emotion through my creative mind and my style. And I'm naturally inspired by people, places, experiences, and I try to embrace creativity in all aspects of my life, not just my work. I could go on forever. And I have so many childhood memories about crazy things my mom would let me do just because I think she probably recognized it before I did, right? Like she saw this, little kid and was like, "You know what? She feels good and confident and loves to paint and draw and do all these things, and so I'm just going to let her." And I don't think they saw this for me way back then, but I know that they've been along this journey with me since the very beginning. So I definitely have full gratitude for them putting up with me.
And how important have or well, you kind of nailed it, but how pivotal have your parents been to your journey? Because it sounds like, a lot of parents, like, I'm pretty sure my mom wouldn't let me draw on my wall. She let me put posters up, but that's about it. So, how integral were they to becoming who you are today in terms of this creative being?
Well, my parents do very different things. My dad was in construction, and my mom's always been creative in so many aspects of her life. So I think creativity naturally ran in the family. And, they I think I had my struggles when I was younger, but I think what was really pivotal for me and maybe for them was that they embraced this creativity aspect for me, without knowing like where I might end up. Like obviously, nobody wanted to become like the starving artist. I had to take this creativity and turn it into something that I could make a life out of. And I think it just kind of happened in the beginning in that era where digital media and computers and things started to really kind of unfold. Companies started wanting websites and, create their space online because it didn't exist really before that. So I think part of it was timing and the fact that they just supported me along the entire journey. So I can't thank them enough for that. I know they're very proud today, but I don't think they had any clue where this might lead me. So I do definitely thank them for supporting me.
I love it. Amazing. And running an agency definitely takes guts and grit. What was the moment you decided to go all in with Creativo?
Oh, Lord. Well, you know, I started this mm, over 17 years ago now. And I had to jump all in from the beginning because life happened, right? And um, partway through having started and jumped right in, things changed for me in my personal life, and I had to actually reevaluate whether or not I could continue on this journey. So I've had to actually revisit that a couple of times. It was like jump all in. Then by the third year, so much had changed in my life. And then I had to actually sit back and go, okay, can I keep doing this? So after like so much thought, and weighing out all the pros and cons, I realized that this this really gave me the flexibility that I needed in my life at the time, and creativity was just who I was at that point. And I had to look at it really seriously and decide, do I go work for somebody else? Do I shift my career completely into something different? Um, and then I realized, nope, you know what? This is the right path for me and for my kids. I gave it everything and I just never looked back. So I've had an incredible support system though along the way around me, family, friends, clients, my kids that believed in me probably more than I did at times.
Mm,
So that really made me realize that I could do this.
I love it. Amazing. Fantastic. Support systems are so important.
So important.
Absolutely.
And they come in so many different forms, right? Because it's not just your family, it's not just your friends. A lot of, my kids had to see me through this journey as well. They were a part of it. They came to events with me. They see me work long hours, evenings, weekends at times. And it was about creating balance and having that support system is really, really important. And having great clients too that could see you along this journey as well.
Did you say balance? Because I'm not sure about that word. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
balance.
It's hard as an entrepreneur to find balance, but it's important.
Okay, well, as long as we know it's important, I'm not sure it exists. And every time I hear balance, I start laughing. But because if we looked at my scale, it would definitely be kind of
Yeah,
doing
it
that.
teeters all the time. I think being a Libra though, like I'm always striving for balance.
Ah, now we go.
Just instinctively who I am.
Oh, now it makes sense. So She's Italian is such a beautiful extension of who you are. And how did that passion come to life? You kind of touched on it, but let's dig a little deeper. And like when, again, what was that moment where you're like, you mentioned, the local media company, but there must have been something else. Like, I need, just taking that one step further. You are such a talent, and you are so creative in the kitchen. And most people find that incredibly intimidating over here. But yeah, tell me about it.
So, yeah, I honestly didn't think much about it at first, until She's Italian started to like take shape.
Mm,
And then what kind of became as like a little side project that wasn't even a project, it was just sharing what I was cooking every day online, either with my kids or, just whatever I cooked that day for dinner. It started to like reignite this creative passion inside of me in like a whole new way. And honestly, it started to open doors that I never expected and introduced me to incredible people. It reminded me why I started creating in the first place. This really wasn't about food, I don't think. I think it was more about like finding that spark again and realizing how powerful it is when you follow what lights you up.
mm.
And you feel energized, like everything else starts to just fall into place around you. And so this kind of like ignited that spark, which, things started in my professional world getting better, in my personal world getting better. Me personally, it was filling my bucket. It was giving me that balance that I think that I needed again.
I'm so thrilled to hear that. That's fantastic. The word balance I'm ignoring, but
Oh, forever. I'm on the balance side, you be on the other. That's why we work so well together.
your daughter. Amazing. I love hearing that. And what a great message to everyone who's listening about following your passion and just sort of believing in it. Cause I am such a strong believer that the universe will deliver. So you have to. And even Oprah says it. I don't know if you've ever heard this, and I've said this before on the podcast. You may or may not have, but first the universe starts with a whisper, then it's a tap on your shoulder, then it's like a brick to your head. And if you're not listening by that time, like you just have to lean into whatever the goal or the passion is and just pursue it. So it's going to keep bugging you until, it's not going to go away. So I'm so glad that it's come to fruition. Everyone should follow she's Italian.com, correct? .com?
Yeah.
Because it is such a wonderful platform of inspiration and recipes and featured chefs, and it's fantastic. So, what do you think your biggest aha moment as an entrepreneur has been so far?
Honestly, I think just like that last question, it was just kind of, finding something that reignited that spark. But also creating that intersection of like food and family and branding has really given me a chance to like reflect on my own journey, and where I came from, what matters to me, how I want to connect with others at this point in my life, because I've been a creative for a very long time now. And part of the journey is um, even figuring yourself out along the way. So it's helped me see that like storytelling isn't just something that I do professionally. It's like about building connection every day. Whether, you're building a brand or you're sharing recipes, it's all rooted in like emotion and identity and connection. And you may not know exactly where it's all headed, but I'm like excited to kind of like follow it and keep creating and, just be in that place of creating stuff from authenticity and just being more me and nothing else.
And the aha moment, where was that?
Honestly, I think it was in creating She's Italian. I think that just ignited that spark, my creative spark all over again. It was like, "Oh my god, okay, so I could marry 2 things that I loved all in connection with creativity." That kind of kept it just kind of ignited everything all over again.
That's amazing. So that's a very recent aha moment, which is kind of lovely.
Yeah, it was more recent, definitely.
Amazing. And what advice would you give to women specifically who are trying to carve out their own space in creative industries? And as we've spoken about many times, creative industries are changing so rapidly with AI and so many other things.
They are. This is like a super deep question. Um because I guess because we've both been in this space for so long and we've seen so many shifts and changes and it's happening at like rapid fire. But I think you need to start by owning your voice and your vision completely. You just need to be all in. And in creative industries, it's just easy to get pulled into trends or feel like you need to follow what everyone else is doing. And while, you know, part of that is true, you can jump on a trend, there's not really a whole lot of longevity to that. So the most powerful thing you can do is just bring your uniqueness to the table. So don't wait to be invited. Build your own space.
Hmm.
Even if it starts small, be curious, be bold, protect your energy, surround yourself with people who respect your creativity and not just your hustle, because the hustle can be exhausting. You need people around you to embrace what the whole purpose of you hustling, right? So just trust that your ideas are valuable before anyone else does. That confidence truly becomes the essence of your foundation.
I love it. That's brilliant advice. And it's not just about the creativeness, it's about all of that, the confidence, the I'm always like, if the door doesn't open, make a window.
That's right, exactly. Build your own table.
I love it. Okay, so this is amazing. And now we're going to move on to the lightning round. And I know you're apprehensive, but it's pretty exciting. So it's like pretending you're on Jeopardy or The Family Feud or one of those shows. So this is like your game face on and you're ready to rock this.
Okay, I hate being on the spot, but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So I'll just give you a bit of background, but the first couple questions will be an either or. So not too bad. So
Okay.
try to keep your answers succinct, but let's go.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Pasta or pizza?
Pasta.
Okay. Bold branding or minimalist design?
Minimalist design.
Oh, okay. Morning espresso or late night vino?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I can't go without the coffee, so I'm gonna say espresso.
Or rum in the espresso?
Sambuca maybe.
Perfect. There you go. All right. Red sauce or white wine reduction?
Definitely red sauce, although it is a treat to go with a white wine reduction.
I love it.
Red's very typical, but it's that
Hmm.
comfort zone.
Makes total sense. Authenticity or perfection?
Authenticity, 100%.
Amazing. You can travel to another era, any era. What is it and why?
I would go back to probably the late '80s, early '90s. I think before technology became a thing. I think it's really unique that, well, for me anyway, that I might be part of, like, the last generation that, like, knew life before, cell phones and, Google and websites and, you know, things like that. So, I wish I could give that to my kids, um, but we can't. It's just we're not going back there. We have to keep moving forward.
You're right. But did you have a typewriter?
I did. I typed a lot of my first, high school, I think, projects on a typewriter.
Okay, fair enough. You can cook with or for three famous people. Who are they?
Oh my god, this is tough. I wasn't expecting this. Um, famous people.
Mhm.
Um, I think I would love to cook with, um, Giada De Laurentiis.
Mhm.
My son is really loving Ina Garden. I think he's following her on, I don't know, TikTok or Instagram or something, and I've always loved her, like, prior to, Netflix and stuff, I was a big like Food Network watcher. So I would say I would totally love to cook with her. And I've always loved the Pioneer Woman. I don't know what it is about her lifestyle, maybe.
Okay.
You know?
Interesting. Very different table. Interesting. Can't wait to be invited to that table. What brand would you love to work with?
Oh gosh, this is a really good one because I've like thought about different brands that I'd love to be connected with. And I went on a huge sort of like nutrition journey. So for me, I feel like even while being Italian and embracing all the wonderful like Italian things and ingredients and making things from scratch, would love to work with brands and not specifically any particular brands, but like that really fit into that health and wellness space now, people with gluten sensitivities and things like that, because I still want people to feel like they can enjoy things like pasta and pizza and those things that we love so much. And, we need to be able to like, fill that space a little bit.
Amazing. How do you want to change the world?
One recipe at a time.
All right. Fair enough. Good one. Final question.
Yeah.
What's next?
I think I'm excited to see where She's Italian goes. We've kind of created this like global network space. And while it's not all completely figured out, I'm excited to see how far this can really kind of grow. And within that journey, still work in sort of like the some that personal aspect for me, which is, to kind of go with a fit focused, segment and, just kind of cater to all aspects of food and creativity, and just kind of embrace that space fully.
Amazing. I love it. Well, I can't wait to see what's next come to fruition. I know She's Italian is going to be amazing and it's going to continue to grow. And I invite everyone to check it out. So thank you for being on the show. This was fun.
Thank you.
The Maverick Makers podcast is sponsored by Maverick Makers Content Creation Collective. We fuel your content pipeline through video, photography, design, and editorial. Let's connect to your audiences and make more sales. Learn more at maverickmakersco.com.